Welcome back to the OPL, where Legacy is currently up 1-0 versus Avantgarde. Of course, Avant will have a chance in just a moment to hit back. However, guys, before we get into breaking down the second game, we want to ask you at home, jump on Twitter. Let us know which OPL team you are following and why. Tweet at us at LOLOceania. Use that hashtag IamOPL. 8 most creative entries will win a summoner icon of the team that they support. I want to see some haikus and poems thrown out there. Going down the desk, Frosk. You're new to the Oceanic region. Well, not so new anymore. Which team are you supporting? Is it still Sid?
Yeah, it's still Sin. I love the Cinderella story, and I love Jubes. I love you, Jubes.
All right, cool. Frey, putting you on the spot. Not Hellions, obviously. So cover your heart for a second. And if Ryu wasn't in the building, so we'll pretend he's not here, who would you support if you're an OPL fan?
I'm actually not too sure. Like, I actually really like Direwolves though, because I'm just a big fan of Fantix ever since, like, even back in the days when I used to play mid lane, he was like one of the best. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Fantix, hopefully.
This guy's an 80 carry and he's like, I love a mid laner.
Well, yeah, and yeah, Fantix, I think, started off as a top laner. Well, he was a mid laner, went top, back to mid. All right, cool, that's enough of that, guys. However, do want to jump back into this set. Legacy obviously going up 1-0, able to get that strong macro play. We always talk about it's not 80 carries, Frosk. Was it the 80 carry? What the heck went on?
Okay, so this is actually really cool. So I still strongly believe that the 80 carry should be a utility position, but the fact of the matter is that game was, in my personal opinion, obviously Choose had a great performance on Victor, but was carried primarily through King. We saw the 100 CS discrepancy, but it was the fact that it was a siege-based composition. So you even saw it in his itemization, looking for the Berserker's Greaves, obviously they've been adjusted, and then going 2 flat AD, so BF and Pickaxe, and then straight into attack speed item. That guy is just made to be rotated around the map and to take towers. So you're still technically using kind of a utility form of an 80 carry, not necessarily an augmenting speed or the arrow, but in just using them as a siege bot.
All right, and Frey, coming to you, you're the 80 carry. Playing against Caitlyn, it's a pain, right?
Yep.
What do you pick into it, or do you just get rid of her? Is that something like, all right, he plays Caitlyn, we've seen it once, enough of that crap, let's move on?
I mean, laning-wise, there's not much you can do against Caitlyn, but the way you deal with that is you get like a flank pick with teleport, like a Maokai. Obviously, AV had a Aurelia there who didn't really have the flank. I mean, Chovy did get fed, so he did have the opportunity to make a pick on Caitlyn when they were sieging, but when he has no vision because they're losing on every other side of the map, there's just nothing you can do.
So did AV not play scrappy enough? Because I was watching the game and we're sitting there and it's a kind of clinical, rotate around the map. Is that an opportunity where the jungler, where the top laner just needs to get in there and start up the fights? Because you're losing the war of attrition.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, AV just kept trying to answer Legacy split pushing, even though they knew they were slower, obviously, from the first tower push. And then they just pretty much let them get all the free towers they could. They never tried to skirmish against Caitlyn, because if Caitlyn's ever in a position where she can get flanked, she's just not as good as she could be.
And then the big thing is the fact is they had like 2 key team fights where AV, like if they had gotten ahead, that pretty much would have been the game for them, but they made mechanical and micro errors in the middle of a team fight. So if you think about the fact when Aurelia chased deep on King, almost killed him when he got behind his tower, and then Choo Choo showed up and just destroyed everyone with his Chaos Storm, it's like those moments. Whereas if AV had won that fight, completely different game.
And I do want to touch on the mid laners because, we've been hyping up Triple, good reason. The kid is an absolute freak, but Choo Choo, since the injury of Tally, who is still, of course, recovering, has been on a little bit of a tear. Frosk, what have you made of, Aaron's performance so far? He's someone that when he first busted onto the team, people used to fear laning against him. Do you think he's getting back towards that, or he's on a slow ramp up, right?
So I'll be honest, I was pretty hard on Choose. I didn't think he was actually as good as he had been hyped up to be to me. He's still solid, but I was like, he's no, like Fantix or anything like that in terms of his 1v1 power. On Victor, however, he looks amazing. I would love to see if he can continue to step up on other champions, but you cannot let him get Victor, especially this split in the OPL. He's just so dominant on that champion.
All right, we'll see whether he gets it one more time because the players are ready to get back onto Summoner's Rift. So here is Rusty and Atlas to take us there.
Thank you very much, Spawn, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in mid lane this time around as well, because we are going to have a side switch, so maybe Triple not going to be able to necessarily get the Azir one more time. We'll see whether there's going to be a switch up in the bans at the same time.
Yeah, perhaps, of course, Legacy were using a lot of targeted bans in game number 1, whereas AV had to ban the strong champions, and there were things left open, and definitely a lot of strong mid lane picks. Triple getting his Azir, Choose getting his Victor. Perhaps now that we've seen one game in this best of 3, teams have adapted, and they've adapted quickly.
Well, we'll see exactly how it is going to work. We are into Champion Select, though, and we'll see what bans are going to change. Looking at the Twisted Fate ban here means that, AV not going to have that red side. Might give Legacy the opportunity to potentially counterpick it if they want to. Might decide to leave that one open. Otherwise, I didn't like exactly what Legacy were doing last time around, just removing that global power that AV did like to play with against the Chiefs.
Of course, remembering that there was a Twisted Fate being banned from them last time, the Rek'Sai as well that Chelby can play. All of these things get around the map very effectively.
Yeah.
And they're just strong champions in their own right. Also forces different summoner spells, perhaps choose as a Ghost inclined. Whereas you play against a Twisted Fate, you might actually have to go for that cleanse.
And AV didn't ban anything, but ladies and gentlemen, that is their choice. They just decided not to ban anything. We'll see what the strategy is.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got strategies. I wouldn't not ban a first champion in the ban list, but
I find that a bit strange also there, Rusty, as this timer is going down very low. And they're not going to ban it. Oh, there it is. Trundle, see you later. So the troll going to hit the bench. Coolo, not going to be able to grab that one, as Twisted Fate is going to be banned on the red side here by Legacy. Not changing things up. We'll see whether Ash is going to follow.
yeah, and of course it throws a spanner in the works here for AV and Legacy. There are way too many strong champions on the board. Like all of them still.
Yeah.
Trundle is such a weird specific oceanic ban as well. It's seen like it's above 90% pick or ban.
Yeah.
Pretty much only in Oceania.
I guess we have a look at the players here, and we got players like Pac-Man, who does like to play the guy a lot.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's like the Malphite of last split. Teams just don't really understand how to deal with it. So instead of learning that, you just ban it.
Makes sense. Well, Vladimir is going to be the final ban here. Ash is going to be left wanting on Summoner's Rift, as Legacy do not want to deal with the Bloodlord, who is just pretty redonkulous. Now AV with their first pick.
Of course, Kindred and Italy all there. Oh, there you go, Denial.
Like it. Victor going to be picked up.
Yeah, taking that one away from Choose. It's not that he has now been being picked out. He definitely still has a lot of champions in his back pocket. It's that Choose is really good on Victor, plain and simple. Frostgrone even said that on the desk. Don't give him that possibility.
Yeah, his Victor play is what is very impressive about the man. Triple, however, has certainly played the champion as well. We'll see whether he can do similar things here in the mid lane. His Legacy taking some time, making sure they get these next two picks right, because there is a lot left on the board.
Yeah, well, they prioritized Elise last draft around. Question if they go towards that again. Of course, Coolo has only played one champion competitively, so that wouldn't be a surprise either.
Spiders and trees locked in here by Legacy. I like it. Coolo's just staying true to his organization. You know, it's like, I'm going to step in for Legacy. Well, I'm going to be the tree for you guys. I know you guys like that.
Yeah, I guess we will see the Lega tree in the top lane.
Yep, happening right now. AV, though, to respond to Legacy, who are looking like they're doing a relatively similar thing to last game.
Yeah, well, if it's not broken, don't fix it is basically the way it should be. The Elise being prioritized so heavily is a curious decision that almost feels like a denial from Shelby. We've seen that guy on Elise.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that his Rek'Sai is banned, I mean, his Gragas is still great. He out-farmed Carbon in the early game. Just didn't really get it going when we hit the late game stages. He was the big engage tool. As Triple thinks he's Shelby again.
Yeah. Well, Zach is going to be locked in. So Shelby deciding to put on his Sybil shoes this time around, as Jake once again back to the Nami. Legacy over to them to see how they want to respond to what feels a little bit direwolves.
Yeah, and I was going to say both junglers actually channeling direwolves in that respect.
Yeah, this is like Sybil's champions.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Zac being locked in, really unique gank path, similar to that of a Rek'Sai and Shaco, is like the three champions that can afford to do this. From places you'd never expect to see them. I like this Sivir hover as well from King. His immediate response is, well, might not see it coming, but I can definitely avoid it.
Just press my E button and things should be okay. Now King just having a bit of fun.
It might be a fun hover, but I've actually seen Shoes only play Yasuo in the OPL into Victor. So.
Ooh, Rise, of course, taking a couple of nerfs, which is why we didn't see the bans coming in last time around, but it is going to be picked up here by Choose. And King back to the Ezreal. So he had a bit of a stint on Caitlyn and thought, no, let's get back to the champion I played 5 out of 7 times, something like that.
I don't think the Rise changes affected the Rise in the first place, and Ezreal being played by King is definitely a scary thing.
Oh, yeah.
Too scary, almost. That guy is so aggressive. Like, if Kuden's not playing a healer, it could backfire. That's what I've learned.
It's also a heck of a lot of pick potential out of this Legacy comp. And they can just layer it all over the top of each other.
Yeah. Oh, they knew. Legacy was hovering it as a shout out to AV.
So Jenny Boy's going to pick up the Sivir. Sivir Nami bottom lane has been taken away, and Survive Alone is going to be on the Wanderer on the top side of the map.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, and what little information we have found is that Survive Alone is a mid laner, not a top laner, who's currently subbing in for AV.
Okay.
Which means this is definitely in his champion pool. And it's a different choice, I'm going to say. Into the Maokai, depending on summoner spells. Keystone Masteries, most importantly. Item builds, they can all change on a dime when playing Yasuo. He might go for the Sunfire split push build, Phantom Dancer.
That'd be cute.
People. He has a Zac to complement it also.
Of course, one of the champions that's probably pretty upset about the Trinity Force change. Doesn't like cooldown reduction that much. And also likes to have a bit of crit on his old Trinity Force.
Yeah, the item build's changed.
Yep.
So you go for the Infinity Edge again still, usually.
Yep.
You can go Trinity Force as a third item. It's actually still quite efficient when completed, but you want the 100% crit as soon as possible. So should be Infinity Edge and just change runes to have more attack speed.
Well, it is going to be Janna locked in here by Kuden, so very safe on the bottom side of the map. As Legacy really setting out to do something different this time around on the map. It started off looking very similar with the Maokai and Elise locked in. And then changing it up. A little bit short range. Definitely a lot of pick potential and collapse potential out of a team that has had a lot of vision control be the focus throughout the early stages.
I mean, the vision will still be useful for that, so they've changed their style to be less sieging, just more picking. And the neutral objective control that Legacy had might even still complement that fact.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, their draft is still good. The flip side, however, looking at AV, that is a very washy type of draft. They just kind of threw champions together that will complement each other, but as far as the finished team composition goes, they've got Victor for wave clear, they've got Sivir and Nami who shouldn't die, and Zac's just Zac. He is a very unique champion in his own right. Putting this together as a 5-man roster just feels a little bit off, though.
Yeah, it feels a little bit strange. Do you think that it's like going to be some sort of Yasuo split push type 4-1 composition, something like that?
He's a top laner.
Yeah.
He has to split push.
Well, if you guys believe in the top lane split push Yasuo, use that hashtag AVWin. Get us to a game number 3 as well. As if you are behind Legacy, want them to take the crisp 2-0 victory, use that hashtag LGCWin. See whether these guys can get themselves back on track towards when Tally will be back on the roster. All back into gear, ready to take on the rest of the OPL.
Yeah, bridging that gap as efficiently as possible. Legacy looking for the 2-0 naturally, as AV have kind of thrown a lot of wild cards at them. And we'll have to see how they react, honestly.
Yeah, and look, I'm excited. I honestly just love seeing Yasuo at all stages of any game ever. And look, the Wind Wall going to be very important in removing things like True Shot Barrage and Cocoons and things like that, as all 5 members are going to be spotted by Chelby, who's now just slinking back into his jungle. Carbon is a pretty speedy spider. Not going to look for a Cocoon.
No, that would be very silly to start Cocoon.
Also, yeah, hasn't actually skilled it. Skilled his W.
But yeah, early invade from Legacy, brute forcing their way in naturally, as AV will always just respond and ward in kind, as is custom when someone invades you and scares you. Survivalone's already made his way to the turret though, so they won't see if there is a lane swap or not. Survivalone can just sit there on his Yasuo and wait for it to happen. You'd also imagine that being in a situation like this, Legacy, knowing that it's a Yasuo into a Maokai, they might want to lane swap, actually force the item-reliant champion into an awkward predicament.
Yeah, it's a good point. You can see that Janna and Ezra are already towards the top side of the map, so I think you might be onto something, Rusty.
I'm not even sure. They will get spotted, though, because Legacy, I'm going to say almost seemingly predictable right now, will invade.
Yeah. Ward is going to die, and Legacy ping it out, I believe. So understanding
they're
that
walking back bottom, though. So Vision spotted Legacy, who then saw AV responding by walking through the jungle.
And then AV saw them.
Yeah, because they walked through the middle lane as quick as possible, and now Legacy have seen AV. And so they're going back top lane.
What is going on?
Musical chairs. Legacy are winning.
God.
But Yasuo is getting a lot of time with minions. And so really, Legacy aren't winning. They're going to lose a bit of tempo here. This is actually musical chairs. It's great. Ring around the rosy.
Yeah, Survivalone actually able to pick up another cheeky minion. We'll see how many he does get. That Q back up.
He's
Or
got a
take that one and go. All right, there we are.
He might actually go for the melee minion here as well before he goes, because Tornado things.
Yeah, there it is. Locks it down.
And he's hanging around. And that's not something you want to do. And Kulo only level 1 might make life easier. But being a Janna... Yeah, I mean, like being a Janna Ezreal, your kill pressure's reasonably low. They just need to be careful. And the Maokai and or the Elise. He's hanging out. He's committed to this cause.
He's going to walk up to the minion wave. All right. King actually taking a lot of damage here as Survivalone will get saplinged. And King, manages to get his flow shield back up, so Survivalone will survive for now.
Yeah, and it's still a positive trade, honestly, for King. Survivalone not being there to help the push on the other side means that AV's lane assignments are just generally... King, what on earth? Are just generally confusing. They've sent the Nami up here for a 2v2.
This is crazy. 2v3, of course. Possibly 4, as Carbon is hanging out in the area.
Well, so the thing is, like, once they see the Nami here with the Yasuo, they have 2 options. Either recall and send King back, and he's the one with no health, so...
Oh my god! Survivalone just kills him. The bubble comes in, gives Survivalone a lot of movement speed as Kulo's tanking up the turret. Does have himself a tornado, doesn't snag the tree with it. And AV will save this lane swap. This is the weirdest situation.
King just bites off more than he can chew. For no particular reason, tanks the minions to no health. Honestly perplexing. It just kind of happened. King, like, again, he's tanking all these minions. Survivor laners, that's like super mega slow-mo, just like walks in and does his buttons. Yeah. And while we're talking about options that Legacy had available to them, they just decide to disregard that and die.
Yeah.
And now they're going to have standard lanes. I think.
Right. A little bit upside down here, but it wouldn't be the Oceanic region without it. The back is going to come in from Chelby. See what he decides to augment his items with, as once again, massively far ahead as far as that creep score is concerned around his jungle, but not something that an Elise really cares about too much. Wants to be controlling the map, as is Carbon's way. Left King just going to use his Arcane Shift, gets himself to safety. Nice spell shield, Chenny boy.
Yeah, so we've defaulted to standard lanes, all things considered. Zac, again, with a slight CS advantage is something that Chelby's done twice in a row now. I think might actually start to mount into a big deal because Zac's gank pathing from level 3 to 5 is very cool.
Well, Survivalone has in a bit of trouble here. Does get a double knock-up. Has Windwall, doesn't have to use it. Nor does he have to use his flash.
You can tell he's a strong mid lane player at the very least. It's the lane assignments that could confuse him.
Well, Shelby is going to discover Carbon here. The Rune comes out. You can see Twisted Advance comes in as well. As there's a teleport out of Legacy. Shoes is going to make his way down as Shelby does need to slingshot himself to safety. Actually doesn't here as Legacy can't follow up.
Yeah, and now Choose is potentially in a bad position because Triple has a collapse with Shelby.
And there it is. Has to flash the slingshot as Carbon does take himself that Rift Scuttler. I believe Choose actually grabs money for it. Not bad.
Yeah, very greedy walking though. These two are just going to hit each other a lot.
Tower shot taken once again here as the Grasp of the Undying
Kulo's
comes in. Nice knock up. Yeah, Kulo has to run away. Sap Magic not going to be enough as the flash comes out of the tree. Survivalone once again getting the better of this.
Yeah, Fervor of Battle actually helping him out a lot there. Does more damage, whereas Grasp of the Undying, a tiny bit of sustain doesn't mean too much this early in the game. As we've found one of the more interesting experiences on League of Legends in Summoner's Rift that I have seen in a while.
Yeah, and it's like AV have told Legacy that they're playing their style of League of Legends this time around. No, we're not going to lane swap. No, we're not going to put up with your sneaky shenanigans getting map control. We are instead going to play standard with these fun champions that we've picked out.
Triple can downright dive this as well. He doesn't have ult, but he can still do a lot of damage. Chooses, by following that teleport, put himself into a hole he didn't want to be in. No, he doesn't have teleport to get back to lane either, which is why he's overcommitting to this push.
Does, of course, have his ultimate for some of that. At least spell vamp, as King doing a lot of damage to Jenny Boy here. Essence Squad's not going to be doing too much, but and he doesn't want to tank up like 12 caster creeps.
But we spoke to King's Ezreal even in Champion Select and said if there's not a healer on his team, he's probably going to die. And lo and behold, he found a way at level 2 to do exactly that.
Kuden, thankfully, in 3 levels' time, will have a heal available to him. However, Jake's level 5. Kuden is only level 3.
Yeah. A lot of time spent in other lanes, whereas Jakey was there for the kills also. In terms of experience, we'd be quite happy with that one.
Yeah. Looks like you're precisely right as well about Survivalone's build, going for that Phantom Dancer as item number 1 as the knockup comes out onto Kulo. But he trades very nicely with the Yasuo this time.
It doesn't mean that he'll outright win this lane either, even when the Phantom Dancer's done. It just means that he can duel, and the slightest stiff breeze in the opposite direction to his intention will just get him killed. Such as Maokai with an Elise in the jungle.
Well, Elise at the moment hanging around the mid lane. Shelby will be able to spot him there. I think Survivalone know that he does have some time to play with. Juice just walks it, triple. Nice death ray comes out. It's a brilliant gravity field. Shelby not going to find the knock-up there as KEYSTONE can't make up its mind as to who it wants to go to. Knock-up comes down on a Carbon as Triple's continuing to try and get the work done. Pops the Ghost, but doesn't find any of the kills.
Yeah, and again, Shelby's got himself a big enough CS advantage that he's level 6 to 5. And Choose is not doing too well in this middle lane. Things are starting to unfold very poorly here for Legacy. They didn't respect early game. They got way too coy. And they're paying for it.
All we can see is, Choose once again throws down the ultimate, but just takes so much damage back. Triple avoids everything by staving off this rise. Once again, going to be zoning him away. So teleport soon to be available from Choose, but at the moment Triple has this wave exactly where he wants it.
Yeah, and he can keep it there to his heart's desire. Of course, now that Rise has been missing for long enough, you don't need to hold it. You can afford to push, maybe even look for a recall yourself, dependent on your goal. And still, Rise being forced into a tier in terms of itemization. It's actually made things quite dicey in this middle lane at the moment.
A lot of damage there towards the top side of the map as well, as Triple is going to shove this full wave into the turret and go back, grab himself another round of items. He's now at 21 CS in the lead. Also has his first upgrade on the Hex Core. We'll see whether he goes for the second, get some more of that movement speed. Instead, going to pick himself up some Lucidity boots and make his way back into lane.
And Chenny being very kind here to King, letting him get all of these minions and just pushing the entire time. Realistically, because that was a 1v2 for a long while. And level 6 to level 5 as well from Kuden and Jakey. They could have froze, maybe forced King off some of it. He was zoning himself. And they're just like, you know what, you can have the farm, it's fine.
Here you go, mate. No worries at all. Choose. Going to grab himself a blue buff. We'll see whether this helps him out. We're checking to the bottom side of the map. Kulo shoving up quite nicely on this Maokai, who's surviving against the Yasuo. Kuden once again going to make his way in. Wants that level 6 for the Monsoon. Don't get it just yet. King's already level 7.
It's just such a non-impactful lane, the Yasuo against the Maokai. He just builds tank and diffuses everything. Yasuo tries his best to kill him and carry.
Oh, King actually taking a lot of damage as Chenny Boy is going to be able to spell shield at least some of the spells coming in. Shelby's going to find his way amongst it. Double teleports coming down as Shelby might get singled out. Let's Bounce comes in, creates some distance from the Rise as he's moving very quickly on the hunt. Will wear off.
Flash.
And now Carbon's making his way around the side. Nice bubble onto Choose, who's taking so much damage. Triple picks up the kill. Kulo now trying to tank up for his team. There are low health bars, but the Chaos Storm's still doing work. Chenny Boy's going to be able to pick up one. He falls down to Carbon, who's now trying to slink away in the backline. Survivalone will be able to close distance on it. Cocoon is going to be thrown out. Survivalone didn't quite have that wind wall in time as the bubble. Not going to find it, but there's the knock-up. The ultimate comes in. The last breath timing from Survivalone well and truly there, and they'll grab a turret.
And speaking of last breath, all of Legacy's efforts were actually towards killing Chenny Boy. Well, congratulations, they got him, but the cost for that was far too high. Legacy with King and Kuden just hitting Chenny and Jakey bite off way more than they can chew. Remember, Nami's heals and Chenny running that Warlord's Bloodlust. He sustained a fair bit of his health. And Shelby's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, already 0-0-3 on the Zac.
Choose just looks completely out of sort as well with his Rise.
Yeah, it's sort of you understood what he was going for in the last fight, but overextending just a little bit.
I understood the last 3 times, but it still feels like it's too forced. Doesn't feel right.
Well, you can see Triple now with his blue buff circling him. Choose able to clear out the minion wave, but he's falling further and further behind when it comes to the farm.
We also have to look at communication for Legacy. That last teleport from Kulo was two seconds roughly later than that of Choose.
Yeah.
It was the one being far more proactive, and that just comes down to experience. Survivalone playing the lone soldier that is Yasuo. It didn't matter when he teleported.
Spell Shield on cooldown now as Jenny Boy is able to dodge out of the way of the Cocoon, but Carbon's taking so much damage. They really want to kill him, but not going to be quite enough. There it is, as Carbon is going to fall from the sky. He's going to die for it after getting a cheeky Q off onto Jakey.
Triple's here as well.
Yeah, they really want this turret.
Yeah, so Legacy start turning up the tempo, but Avant always have the answer at every single avenue they attack. This is a very interesting game that does feel like a kind of 4v4 scenario that AV are now coming out ahead of. They haven't been able to play the map style. They wanted to win lane here. Legacy searching for those standards. To put the for the split push to get Yasuo behind. And then they just kind of blunder the execution of it as King doesn't have E.
Yeah, he's going to get knocked into the sky. Not a lot of mana as well there as Shelby just going to bounce on top of him. No follow-up comes in from Nami as Jake says, oh, stop with your funny business, Shelby.
Yeah, King was using his E to last hit a minion, so he was in a position that he shouldn't have been in. Forces a recall so they can look towards the Drake. Makes sense. Aggressive by himself, Shelby, but it works out.
Ocean Drake going to be taking care from Shelby, who does have his Cinderhulk already completed. Level 8 here, so that damage will start ticking up. Ebb and Flow plus eating all of his globules. We'll make sure that this one's relatively easy for Shelby to take down.
It should be perfectly easy. No one's going to contest it from Legacy. Not even Ezreal ultimate available. Even though they had vision, could not stop.
Oh my god, Kulo with the 1v1 on the top side of the map. Survival Alone couldn't do it. Decided to grab himself the Static Shiv at the same time, so a different build than what we were expecting, and the tree comes out ahead.
Opted towards the wave clear approach. Bit of magic damage in his kit as well. I don't think the Static Shiv is the optimal idea, but we are going to see how this all unfolded one more time. I can tell you how it happened. Maokai actually just auto-attacked him and then clapped his hands together and did his ultimate. And then just blew it up.
Oh, that's a sexy twisted advance, though.
It was a good dodge, very good dodge. But once again, we look at a Yasuo and we say, oh, look, he's against a Maokai. It will never work out. Maokai's just too tanky. Way too tanky. That doesn't change anytime soon, especially not when you're going for the Static Shiv route. Phantom Dancer would have been damage reduction at the very least, could have kept him alive there. Did not.
And Kulo as well now, well and truly towards his Frozen Heart. Currently sitting on 10% CDR, but will have that 20 once that's been locked down. And that could be relatively soon as well, as Survival Lane now just saying, well, I'm going to clear out creep waves over and over again. This is the Steel Tempest, as there's another one. Kulo just happy to tank up minions. There's another ultimate comes down, does get his flow back. Survival Lane considering what he wants to do. Carbon going to make his way over. Everything is going to be okay.
And I say this with the most love possible as a Yasuo player. Just don't do it. Just farm the minions, man. It's not worth it. Now you don't have ultimate, you don't have an escape tool, and there's an Elise.
Oh, Windwall does come in, but Survival Lane's still going to fall down. It's a big fight towards the bottom side, though, as King's going to get exploded. Shelby picks up the kill credit, but I believe Triple did probably the majority of the damage. It's blue buff now just going to be battled with. Triple able to pick that one up in the end. So it's a 1-for-1 trade across the map, but AV continuing to push down structures.
Yeah, and King being dead means there is little to no wave clear. They may even just look for this.
Yeah, Chu's actually going to come in with a teleport. Shield there for Kyuden, just to try and make things happen as Jake takes a turret shot. Shelby as well just was jealous about the fact that his support took one, so he wants one.
Yeah, and they hold with that teleport. This Triple still gets a kill from it and a bit of an advantage in that respect. They stop turrets from going down. They slow down the breaching of that global gold into Avant's pockets. Shelby, he is still huge, and that doesn't actually slow down any time from here as this Zac. The ganks being successful indicates that the snowball is there. And being a tank jungler, you're looking big. Triple is the issue for Legacy, because that guy never ceases to be big. He's always there.
Yep. Always able to find farm around this map. Survival Lane is going to find Carbon. It's a nice wind wall, but I feel he still doesn't want to take the fight versus 2.
They're just trying to capitalize on a weak point. They've recognized that Kulo can fight him. And they get the Yasuo the heck out of there. Kind of makes life a bit easier for them, honestly. And Carbon being the recipient of most of these kills also helps sell out when he decides to utilize that elsewhere.
Yeah, can transition the lead around the map. Do like that a lot. Has actually decided to go for that Rylai's Crystal Scepter as item number 2. After that, Runic Echoes came in. Pretty standard stuff, but it will be accelerated. Shall we get some vision down? Coolo not going to be able to beat this ward to death just yet.
Yeah, and Shelby finally being dragged to the top side of the map. Survivalone's had enough of it.
Yeah.
And he does come up, means there might be kill pressure onto Coolo, but that is a pipe dream if ever I've heard one. The real issue there is if Legacy can pressure the Yasuo to the point where they draw Shelby to the top side of the map, it gives an opportunity for King and Kuden to catch back up. And it's not that they're behind either in terms of the 2v2. It's just that they're getting ganked constantly and falling even further and further down that hole.
Nice knockup comes in here as Triple playing Keeper. This Rift Herald may actually fall down this time as AV are going to be able to kill it. Lots of them collapsing now as Jake's going to fall. Chenny Boy as well in a whole host of trouble. Has to flash as the Cocoon finds him. Really nice spell shield to stop the stun from coming in. True Shot Barrage nicks him for a bit.
Watch Shelby. They want to engage. Triple's burst is huge.
Oh, in he goes. Massive Chaos Storm.
Oh
Look at the ultimate on 4. AV with the Wombo combo to end all Wombo combo. Survivalone's now wants to get his revenge on the tree. Triple kill comes out for Triple. And AV couldn't have set that up any better.
Shelby, I believe it was a flash elastic slingshot. They get the combo that you could only dream of in
I want to
any
see that in
competitive
extreme
game.
slow-mo for the rest of my life.
And still very impressively done from AV. They picked themselves up a massive team fight, and any snowball opportunity that Legacy had is now out that window.
That was massive. Let's have a look at it again.
Yeah, you can even see it happening. Shelby charges it up. He's ready to go. Just lands in the picture-perfect place to get all of the knockups. And the Yasuo to follow it. Couple that with, even though the Chaos Storm missed, it moved over and pulsated on top of them as a laser connected as well. Like, this is a team composition that Sin usually execute. Or Direwolves, perhaps. We're yet to see this from AV. Very refreshing. And it's the type of team composition that when it rains, it pours. And it's raining right now all over Legacies.
And this is the 6th unique champion that Shelby's played as well. I mean, we're talking about champions with, players with deep pockets in the jungle role in this matchup. Shelby, once again, showing us that he doesn't forget how to play a lot of these ones. Survivalone has himself a recurve bow. I believe that might be Blade of the Ruined King as item number 2.
And it does seem that way. He wants to be able to kill Maokai. He's got one job, usually, and that's just to sit in a side lane and split push. Problem with the Yasuo as well being the top laner is that you can't teleport and still be a part of a Wombo type of Zac Yasuo ultimate thing either. And the teleport is very telegraphed in that respect and gives Legacy time to back off. What that means is that he either has to be there or he has to commit to the split push. That Blade of the Ruined King to me says that he's split pushing.
Now has the Vampire accept a portion of it. He's going to pick up all this farm that Choose has thrown into him, and the Dragon is going to be taken by Shelby relatively easily. So we've got air and water. Gee and Linker if we're going back to Captain Final. Triple once again, just clearing out minions. He's now 21 CS in the lead, although that gap has not changed for the last few minutes. So good news for Choose, who's been able to find some farm around the map.
Except that the victor is 5-0.
Yeah, that's a big... look, we're focusing on positives here. He's going to be able to grab himself a blue buff, so there's another one.
There's an oasis in the desert. The fact that the CS is close.
Yeah.
The rest of the map very barren. They're struggling right now. King 0-3, Choose 0-2. Carbon, all of the kills, basically. And Kulo with that one solo outplay. And that's him one of their fight.
Could be a good news story, though, moving forward, as Kulo might be able to get himself to a point where the Yasuo are not going to be able to split push. However, at the moment,
that's just a lie.
Shutting things out.
Easy Yasuo.
Oh, damn it.
In life and death, he will split push.
Well, Kulo now just battling with Shelby, who does have a level disadvantage, but he's never
also
stopped it in
alone.
the past.
Zac doesn't have anybody with him. He's kind of flexing himself.
Sort of what he does in his back animation as well. There it is. Chenny Boy, however, deals with that minion wave very effectively. And if King's done anything, he's been able to keep up in farm. In fact, he's ahead by 21 as he's holding onto that mid lane.
Yeah.
Legacy have bought themselves some respite, some time, some breathing room. But they're 4,000 gold behind, and AV have a lot of map control.
And 4K can be clawed back from Doesn't mean that they're out of this game. Legacy still would be searching for that 2-0. It's starting to become a fleeting illusion. There's AV with their mid laner being 5-0 and their jungler just being outright unkillable and pulling further ahead.
2-0 7 for Chelby. What a performance. As Chew's going to get tidal waved. There's the knock-up as well as Chelby just throws it all down. Boy easily picks up that kill, but that was everyone on AV throwing all of their efforts together, and this inner turret could be in trouble.
Yeah, and Choose was about 2 seconds of actually having his flash available. So whilst it is now, only in death does he have his flash available for him. As AV get a nice pick working around jungle vision. One thing they've always had a lot of is vision. And that's no different in this game.
Most certainly. And cross-map pressure here is going to mean that this mid lane turret now going to be under siege by 3 members. AV decides they don't want it. Unless Legacy able to turn up in time. So we'll see whether they go next. Triple. Oh, not going to get it, Carbon. Locks that one down. We'll be able to clear out a ward as well. Consolation prize. Works. Decent death rate comes in. Cooler shrugs it with his Spectre's Cow.
Yeah, so with the Baron now being a primary point of focus, of course the next Drake is another Cloud from the looks of it, which is not too much of a deal at all. I would imagine that's where all of the attention now starts to be focused towards. Top laners in that case generally start to rotate towards the bottom side of the map. However, having a Ryze on your team does make it possible for you to 1-3-1, and Legacy can look towards this. It's not easy to do because the side of AV will just dive you if they find you as a 3-man unit not ready to fight or not backing off quickly enough. And given that it is a Zac, usually they can just dive you anyway from any angle.
You have to be very, very careful. Vision needs to be everywhere here for Legacy, but at the moment it certainly isn't. Is Carbon going to spot out a pink ward, but Boy running after him.
Yeah, but if Legacy can make the 1-3-1 work, they can start breaking some structures on the map, put themselves into a position where they can at least reduce that gold deficit.
Well, now could be an opportunity here because, of course, Triple does have only the Ghost. He's going to pick up all of this farm underneath this turret. So, Legacy, some options for a play maybe at this stage.
Even Yasuo is down here at the moment. There's definitely a lot of possibility for some kind of play. There it is.
Yeah, Carbon is going to make his way in. It's a nice spell shield, but it's not enough as King has a whole host of damage. Carbon finishes off the kill, and Boy is going to fall down. True Shot Barrage to be thrown back to pick up all those minions on the turret.
Because they wanted to siege mid, but they don't actually have the minion wave. So now they look towards the Baron potentially. You would imagine it's at least a bait. I wouldn't say they should outright do this. Because a Zac Victor will murder them.
Oh no,
and it's warded
in the back of the pit.
Oh, they're actually a sitting duck right now.
Oh god.
They try and recall, Zac will engage on them, and Yasuo is currently hitting the base.
Yeah, Jake does have his tidal wave as well, so can actually stop backs from a decent distance. However, Choose is going to make it home. And this turret taken down to about half health. The Tornado going to rip through, so AV. Cheeky ward. King going to get exploded. Oh my god! The Arcane Shift is going to come in. Perfect hex scores there, but Chaos Storm outran by the slippery Ezreal.
Lucky to be alive right now. King has to recall, and now AV with the power and the control on the map to manipulate near Baron as they please and or look for more picks instead. Now Yasuo, whilst it didn't break the turret,
Jesus, Triple.
is a sign of what's to come.
This guy is terrifying. No matter the champion he's playing, Gravity Field goes down. Carbon is not going to be found by it.
And defending his ward that was placed there. A lot of damage coming out of this Victor. He doesn't even have a Lich Bane yet, but prioritizing that Void stuff makes sense given all the MR the team. Imagine with the, what you would assume, the Lich Bane next, people will just die.
Yeah.
They'll just die. They'll just not want to live anymore.
Loveline was thinking about taking toe-to-toe with Choo Choos. Decides against it, has himself a red buff.
No, rule of thumb is whenever wind wall's available, you can fight. Whenever it's not, run away quickly.
Well, second Cloud Drake, now going to be taken here by Avant. See what Dragon is going to come next. Whoop. It's an Infernal Drake, so AV probably looking pretty excitedly to that Dragon for next time.
And it was at about this point last game that AV, in this case it's going to be Legacy, started to mount a defiance. Look to prevent any further Drakes from being taken. Start working the map.
Nice bubble comes in. but not going to be able to capitalize on anything because it only gets Kulo. So there's the knock-up. Kulo got a little bit out of position here as Shelby does get the slow. Kulo, however, very tanky. He's going to survive for now. Ventral Maelstrom helping out. Shelby's huge. Look at that guy. So much health.
Yeah, he's a massive blob. Kind of just cursing the face of Legacy.
Complete zone control there as well, as he does create enough space in order for that inner turret to fall down. Pings now for Avant towards the inner turret that was pushed up.
Now, so King also was just top.
Oh, they're going to just engage on this. Look at the Chaos Storm. Carbon can't even repel. As Kulo now just getting cut in half. Flashes out of the way, but Survivalone is going to close distance. That twisted advance was not what he wanted. There's Triple's taking a lot of damage. Chu's able to get a lot of AoE in there. Legacy still holding on for now. Boomerang doing a bit of work. Tornado not finding the knockups necessary.
They hold on decently well here, to be honest. I know Shelby's going to run away. They could have maybe turned that one around.
I like how he started running a little bit sooner.
The end result, though, is still 2 big picks away from Legacy. Fortunately for them, the Baron's just not being done by AV. Because the burst that they have, the engage that they have, and the range with which they can do it is obnoxious.
Yeah.
And they just keep doing it. They rinse and repeat this strategy until it works. And they get more than just the 2 picks. Carbon, 5 kills out of the team's 6, dies first. And suddenly Legacy's power's out the window.
Legacy's still looking for an opportunity to scale here. Is there a chance for them to make something happen as this game progresses? Of course, you look at an Ezreal and you don't necessarily feel scaling, but
no, he scales well.
Yeah, just has that sort of presence in the late stage.
He still scales pretty well. Once he's got a blade, which he does have now, you'll find that he's doing a fair chunk of damage. So absolutely, they can look towards that. My concern is honestly just that they have a Ryze, Maokai, Elise, and magic resistance stacked against them will make life miserable for everyone but King. So they can kill King and then just not die to the rest of them. AV have a lot of answers at this stage in the game. Looking really strong in game number 2.
They certainly are. Seems like game 2 is where AV decide to shine.
They just cause chaos. That's the difference. Is like game number 1 was a finesse game from Legacy.
Yep.
They got a big lead from. Game 2 was fight them until they fight you back. And then just grow a lead through that. Like individual mechanical plays.
See, Shelby sort of got caught out of position, but I'm not sure whether you can even call it that. As the 2-0-10, 12 out of 13 kill participation. Zach is just feeling pretty good about his life in general. He's big, he's purple, he's all around the map.
And all is right with Summoner's Rift for Avant.
Yeah.
Shelby decided not to do it, wants to walk at Carbon instead.
Yeah, just wanted that in casually as Gravity Field comes in, but Carbon not going to be found. His Spiderlings, however, are going to get thrown away as Shelby narrowly avoids the Baron, and Survivalone going to continue the split. Choose though with his Guardian Angel, feeling a little bit better as Triple is going to get hit by the Cocoon. Lots of damage comes out and the shutdown comes in from King, so Legacy now with an opportunity on the map.
Yeah, big pick. First death for Triple as well. Nothing to keep him alive from the Cocoon as he didn't go towards it, and they're diving potentially.
Yeah, Jake actually gets caught with the Cocoon as the Tidal Wave flies through as well. Jenny Boy, wrong side of this fight. It's Kulo. Twisted advance his way in. Ventral Maelstrom picks up the kill as Survivalone now trying to be the hero that his team needs. Is able to pick up one of them. That's a big knockdown as Kuden in trouble, but is able to tank up the last hit of the turret, and Legacy turn it all around.
And he was actually almost a hero there, the Yasuo, but he goes down. 4 members alive, but no smite to their name. I don't know if you want to walk towards a Baron buff. Couldn't have died of the residual damage that actually lies there. I think it's just area control. Recall, reassess, and start again. Triple getting caught. The catalyst for this, ultimately, the start of potential undoing for AV.
Yeah, this is the gold swing that this Legacy squad needed as well. I mean, that's about 2,000 swung back the other direction.
It's 2 Guardian Angels as well now completed. They're missing Void Staffs. Until that stage, I don't know if I value Legacy doing a team fight in a standard setting. And Triple will do more damage than their whole team combined.
Just ridiculous.
If he's given the chance. But because they set up vision, they set up control, they get a flash Cocoon onto the man who doesn't have cleanse in game number 2. Easy pickup.
Really nicely done. So Triple now looking for his Zonya's Hourglass by the looks of things. Doesn't want to get chain CC too hard in these fights. You can see Survivalone with his Infinity Edge done, so that's a big item breakpoint for the Yasuo. This is such a Legacy Yasuo build, not the team, of course. Just
What's the first one that worked, and it's the only one that works now, right? Blade of the Ruined King probably better than Trinity Force in its current state.
Yep.
For Yasuo. Infinity Edge and an item that builds out of Zeal, necessary for 100% crit, as AV have kicked off a Baron.
Yeah, start this one up. Bit casual, 5 members here. It's taking a lot of damage.
Legacy will get here in time. The question is how soon they'll get here.
Well, Tidal Wave is going to be avoided by all of Legacy as Choose is now just going to close the gap. Nice Gravity Field's going to lock him down for now as Carbon's going to make it.
Carbon
oh my
got it.
god! Steals away the Baron. He's happy to sacrifice his life as well as the Chaos Storm now flying through. Let's bounce in amongst it as Survival only gets an ultimate down, but he only manages to snag Kulo as Legacy still fighting this one out. King, lots of auto attacks from the back end as Triple now taking so much from Choose. Still has his Guardian Angel. How are they team fighting like this? As Triple still running, still being the hero.
Oh, King
misses the Mystic shot, but it doesn't matter. Legacy got the Baron, and they went even in the trade. They were ahead in the trade. I take it all back. That was a just flat-out Legacy win.
And they just weren't able to set up vision, otherwise more people would have died. Shelby was super low. Now regenerates himself back up. Baron being stolen now. Could actually start once again that snowball in the opposite direction. AV did this in game number 1 to Legacy. Shoes on the other foot. Let's watch how this unfolds again, because Choose gets caught at the start of it all. But because they go for Choose, Carbon walks his way in. If King didn't waste his ult to kick this all off, this could have been entirely different. More people could have died. And unfortunately, the ultimate prioritization as well from the Yasuo backfires. King was actually in a position he could have been ulted from the Let's Bounce.
Yeah.
But Shelby's communication with Survival Alone wasn't there. And this last kill barely misses from the Ezreal. Just didn't aim for the right direction. As sudden aggression once again from Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy now pushing up so aggressively onto this inner turret. They want to capitalize on this Baron that they've picked up. 2,000 gold is now the only lead for Avant. They've had control this whole game. It's falling down. Cocoon is going to land onto Jakey.
So they're still going to continue this siege off. Legacy with that Baron buff have a time to work now. So they can actually get this.
Yeah, nice Boomerang is going to lock down the siege minion. 20 CS is the lead. All for the Yasuo, but immediate Cocoon onto Shelby as this is not what EV necessarily wanted. Windwall comes down. Shelby is going to get brought down to his passive for the first time this game. King once again caught with the knockup, but you can see Survival Alone not wanting to pull the trigger on the ultimate. Massive damage in the backline as Choose is able to rocket his spells through. Despite not having that Guardian Angel anymore, he's still playing super aggressively. Even tanking the turret. Monsoon Season comes in here for Legacy and they are able to take down the inner turret.
Yeah, they get themselves the turret. They brute force that one as well. Zach losing his passive but not dying, as the wind wall actually pretty important in that situation. You can see what Shelby wanted to get done, but because he wasn't in range to hit them properly, it doesn't get done. And Legacy, they push forward one more time. That goal lead only 1,000.
And it wasn't as Onya's picked up by Triple as well. He went for the Rabbit and Death Cap.
Triple's actually looking really aggressive. Carbon's dead.
So Death Ray is going to be able to pick up a Spider. It's the best way to kill spiders, by the way. Fire,
Also,
apparently.
they got the Infernal Drake while we're watching it.
Yeah. So Legacy on the board with the Drakes. Seems to be the cheeky last-minute Fire Dragon that the team without the Dragons is able to pick up so far this series, as Cooler takes half of his health bar. Triple doing a lot of damage. Victor seems to definitely be the champion of the series so far. Shelby able to steal away a red buff. King throws down the Blade of the Ruined King, but gets in range of the Let's Bounce, and Shelby's going to make it to safety.
Yeah, gets the red buff, so successful invade, I suppose. And the damage from Triple to zone them off a little bit in the middle lane. AV's still looking strong. They are still well and truly ahead. And that one pick on the Carbon is a sign of what has been happening this game, honestly, to Legacy.
Yeah, 5, 7, and 4 actually. He's picked up a whole host of the kill participation, but death participation as well. Well and truly in there. Carbon has been making sure that everything that happens on the map has something to do with him.
Yep, absolutely. Being that Elise, being the aggressor as well as Carbon has been known for. Kind of just makes sense, really.
Yeah, but with that Baron steal, definitely happy. What the jungler for Legacy has been providing. Clearing out some vision. Legacy work to figure out what to do next. Baron buff wears off. Not going to see. All right.
Yeah, they didn't actually know he was in that bush.
Oh, that's cute. Everyone flashing.
But they found him. As they're fighting on the top left.
Yeah, they are. Coolow's going to die. Tripple's able to pick up that one. Big knocker as the massive purple blob gets launched skyward.
So that's a Sivir and a Yasuo ultimate burned on that. But it's also a 4v5 advantage. No Baron, no Drake. All they've got left is a potential siege in this middle lane or reassessing minions in side lanes to establish further control. At this stage, it looks like they want to group up and siege. Remember, a Yasuo win wall makes it feasible for a Sivir to look to hit turrets if they can get to the turret. No Baron buff makes that pretty difficult, honestly.
See, the minions are not going to make it too long as Carbon, bit of a scuffle with Chelby. However, not going to find too much. That's a Guardian Angel on the blob. He's only got one more item slot to go. This guy is going to be super big.
Yeah, speaking of which, Guardian Angel also now available for choose, and Kulo was lucky that he didn't have one.
Yeah.
Because that was already burned, and he would have just wasted that, essentially. So when Legacy come back up, which is now, and they get the Guardian Angel for Kulo once more, they'll be at a point where they can still fight. It's just an absurd thing to consider. But a 0-3 Rise is doing potentially as much as an 8-1 Victor, simply because he's Rise.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's Rise.
Does also almost have those 6 items that he needs as well. We'll see what he decides to pick up as his final one. Turn that Doran's Ring into something a little bit more useful.
Best.
Has that 6 items done for King at the same time?
Yeah, so they've basically bridged themselves to a point of power, at least on their carries. Also, we're only at 66k gold for the whole team. Surprising to say that they are pretty much at full items. Efficient item build paths.
Yeah, Survivalone deciding to go for Randuin's Omen as his item of choice. Can slow down the entire team as he launches himself in with that last breath.
Oh my god, that's 3 GAs.
That's a lot
4
of
for both teams if we count total, but only Chelby on the other. Goes to show the champion select has kind of favored Legacy for never dying. Rise can afford to go one, Maokai can afford to go one. Whereas a Yasuo needs damage. And a Victor definitely still needs damage.
There's the knock-up onto Carbon. Gets the shield from Kuden, though. Nice cocoon. That was the perfect aim from Carbon there. Make sure Triple can't blow him up.
Yasuo was also walking around looking for it. AV aren't done.
Yeah, in once again. Nice Arcane Shift from King. Gets him out of the way of Chelby, but he can just rinse and repeat that so many times.
So can King, that's the thing. And the damage that was done to Chelby needs to be noted, because if 2 people are doing that next time, he might lose more of his health. The Baron, though, they just kicked it off. It's in vision. Yep, they know. Choose has teleport.
This is getting taken down so quickly, though, as a teleport is going to come in. We'll see whether Kulo is going to join him there, as it is Chelby that locks down the Baron. Kulo immediately makes his way in on the back line, but unable to get any sort of advancement because of that bubble out of Jake. Very swiftly, very decisively, AV just take a purple worm.
They also burn 2 teleports for it. Kulo and Choose just don't get there at the right time. Kulo actually just teleported to get over the Baron pit from the other side. This could mean, though, the Elder has been kicked off. AV are here, and they will be here before it's gone.
Oh, Chelby could start this one up as well, as the last breath is going to be available. Legacy thinking about possibly pulling off this, but AV have taken the aggro of this dragon. It hasn't quite reset. There it is. Now it's a face-off between these 2 teams.
But it's not a face-off because AV have the inside track to the middle lane and there's no teleport. So Legacy just have to straight recall and respond, and if they all recall and any of them are spotted in vision, then they can just do the Elder Dragon themselves. Remember, that Baron buff will prove invaluable right now.
Most certainly. You can see Survivalone actually using that in the mid lane. Shoves
they
that
know
one
King's
up.
Gone.
Oh.
So they can just start it up right now. They absolutely know. That's a mistake from King to recall in the first place. Legacy can't slow this down. He'll be gone before he's here.
Well, Spell Shield now on cooldown as the cocoon does fly just right of Chenny Boy. Carbon now just trying to get himself into this pit. You can see AV getting corralled for the moment. Choose gets knocked up. The ultimate does go off there from Survivalone as everyone's piling in onto the fight. Chaos Storm still available from Triple as he throws it down. Kuden is going to get melted by it. Chenny Boy as well with so much damage. As now King trying to be the hero that they need, able to get out. As Chenny Boy's going to fall. Choo Choo's now down to his Guardian Angel as King trying to kite Chelby, who does get the shutdown. And Carbon now the last man standing. AV probably going to be able to push in for the win with that Baron buff.
And Choose way too aggressively looking for a flank. Just gets ulted by the Yasuo. He does not need to hit a 4-man combo because Chelby can follow it as he's suspended in air. King decided to just join him and get knocked around by the Zac and use his ear over the wall, but to each their own. AV looking like they can end this one out.
Repel is going to get Carbon up in the air. Does still have his Guardian Angel, actually, as he's trying to clear out minion waves. Does actually a decent amount of damage with those 3 items. The Survivalone in a bit of trouble, but they're just focusing on the Nexus turrets. Kuden, you can't shield the Nexus. Oh, no. And it is going to fall down. So AV even out the series against Legacy. They did it to Chiefs last week. Now they're doing it to Legacy this week. We'll see whether they can follow through this time.
Yeah, and it feels like the rule of thumb is Chelby getting ahead, Triple getting ahead, and the whole map just starts to bleed. The bottom lane being facilitators for the rest of the team still do their part as we hit late game, and somehow this top Yasuo has managed to find a victory against the Maokai with team fighting, not split pushing.
Yeah, and after Maokai was able to get the 1v1 solo kill on him as well. We have to remember the fact that AV did manage to get to this point after probably one of the most beautiful wombo combos we have ever seen so far in the OPL. Just ridiculously good. So AV, massive congratulations to them by taking this game out. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing whether they can do it again in game number 2, because they seem like the lords of game number 2. Number 3 has been a little bit more difficult for the squad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, moving into the 3rd game, we have to question how AV are going to perform. But as far as the 2nd game is concerned, I think that one big wombo kind of captured the whole game for us. Yeah. It's like an early lead. Legacy kind of try and claw their way back. But Legacy, honestly, in a macro style of play, throw what was an early lead away by deciding to run back and forth, play Ring Around the Rosie until it didn't work out for them. So unfortunately for them, they go down, but AV's still looking strong. And that game 2 buff you mentioned, definitely true.
Yeah, most certainly is working out. And one thing that we also need to iterate on is the fact that Victor has now won both of the games in this series with dominating performances. It's just ridiculous. So we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to bring you some insight on the action.
Thank you so much, Atlas. And with that, Avantgarde do pick up game number 2. So it is 1-1 between Legacy and Avant. However, I want to talk about level 1. We'll get to the team fights and all the craziness later. But Legacy, like a dog with a bone, pursue this Avantgarde lineup around Summoner's Rift, trying to get that lane swap, and then King just dies.
Yeah, so effectively, it cost so much time, just wasted time, that Yasuo got to spend in the wave and setting himself up to get like a safe level 2. And then more importantly, when they're pushing the wave finally in and Nami joins Yasuo, King tanks the initial tower shot, and then Yasuo just first bloods him instantly. And
the reason I bring it up is it's really important if you are a wombo combo comp to get everyone kind of to the same power level. So you can start doing things like this, Frostgren. We're going to bring up the first replay that we have for you guys. And I think Rusty said it back. If you remove nameplates, this looks like sin.
This is the prettiest wombo combo I think we've ever seen in the OPL. We can go ahead and roll it through. Effectively, watch Chelby on your screen. He's just about to set up a god tier. Just like teeing it off, hits 3 people right there, and then Maokai actually twisted advance in it, so in the end it's 4 people, and then the rest of the wombo combo follows through with Victor and Yasuo.
I actually think you see that he gets 5. I think that Chelby waits for his R and actually gets all 5 members, so he knocks everyone up. And you know, when you're running a Victor comp, a Civic comp, you have a Yasuo in there, that's a lot of AoE damage, Frey.
Yeah, that definitely is. I mean, they pretty much had the shot call, like, Chelby jumped in on them. They're like, all right, everyone turned, kill Chelby instantly, but they didn't manage to pull that off. So then he just obviously got the combo off, and Victor, even though he ulted early, managed to clean it up.
But I want to speak about the patience of what this actually means, because, you know, you see the first E go in, that's hit 3 people, you think that's pretty good, but they do wait for the second time around. That's pretty good communication. We already spoke about how top laners, you know, especially when they're fresh ones, might struggle with something like that. That has to speak a lot to how well Avantgarde set up this team.
Well, it also... not to take away from the top laner, because I think he played much better this time around on the Yasuo, but it was technically Chelby as your primary initiator. And so, you know,
I hate to break to you, Frost. I see Zac hit 3 members. I don't care who my top laner is. Like, if I'm the Zac, the Yasuo's hitting R on the first one.
No, I completely agree. I'm just saying it wasn't like the top laner was in charge of pulling off that initiation. It was Chelby, you know, the veteran jungler, going in and be like, we're fighting right now.
All right, let's see another instance of when they're able to actually pull it together as we pull up a replay. This is the last fight, and, you know, Sivir just puts in work, Frost.
And pretty much you're in a choke point against the likes of Sivir as well as Victor. And so what was cool from the first replay to this replay is it kind of shows like the bridging of power for this composition. It was initially all about the Zac setting up the Wombo combo, particularly with Yasuo, but by the end of the game, AV had gotten so far ahead that it was just about Sivir and Victor doing Sivir and Victor things in tight corridors.
And I do want to point out, you know, target priority, they're very, very good, waiting for the GAs to come through and pop. And Frey, you called it, you know, you said you think that Avant are good enough to be able to take maybe one game off this Legacy lineup, but not the two. Did you see anything in that game that you, like, made you a believer into what this Avant-Garde lineup can do long term?
I think this is still somewhat of a cheesy composition, and I do think Legacy misplayed by giving them the Sivir because they had the synergy with Maokai and Ryze and Sivir, but they gave it to Avant-Garde and allowed them to have the disengage, and also obviously the engage with Nami and Sivir just running at them and getting free damage.
All right, so maybe a bit of a cheesy comp, maybe some misdrafting from Legacy. I don't know. All I do is know that we're going to a game number 3, 1-1 between Legacy and Avant-Garde. Game number 3 coming up around the corner. Don't go anywhere.